frequency is there. And in the block 2, block 3, and then block 4, and then block 5. Block 5 we have, 4 is instructional materials, 13 is instructional materials, 14 is task design, 15 is classroom interaction, 16 is the learning center classroom. And the 5th block you have kinds of tests and testing, 18th unit, issues in testing, 19th unit, formative evaluation, 20th unit is learning, teaching, and testing. These are the 5 blocks that you have, right? So guys, you have altogether 18 units in this textbook. So we will look into the first block, that is first block. What we have is cameos. Cameos, you all understand, in the introduction part is there. Understanding the English classroom. We have different, backgrounds, different backgrounds in Indian context. Particularly from the education point of view, we have different, the atmospheres, the infrastructures, the different systems of schools are there, right? So in introduction, this course actually discusses the kinds of practices adapted in English classroom throughout the country. And then this blocks actually talks about, and there are certain general perceptions about the purposes for learning English and the use for which language will be needed in the society. So we have different purposes, right? Every individual has got their own purpose to learn something, right? And when we are talking about learning English, we all have different purposes to learn English, right? A group of a set of people will have purpose of going abroad, so they learn English. Some people have a purpose of securing a job, that they learn English, because now the world is a global village, so we need English very prominently, very importantly, right? That's the reason. There are different purposes. So and then coming to, and then the circumstances in which English is taught in India, however, are very diverse, and depending upon the social environments in which English is learned, the teaching methods and materials also differ. So what is that? Based on the, the world is all different, right? We don't have the similar situations and similar circumstances in everywhere in our country, right? We have different situations, different circumstances, different, priorities are there. So based on these differences, and the social environment is also different. Based on these differences, English is learned, and teaching methods and materials are also different. I think this point is clear, guys. Yes. Yeah, I think you're all
Yes.
in mute, so I don't think you can speak to me. So anyway, yeah. So yes, yeah, you can actually share anything in the chat box, guys, so that I'll understand. Yeah. I think, am I making myself very clear about the explanation part of it? So what is that? The purposes and the, because of the purposes are different, and the methods are different. The teaching materials are different based on the social environment and then the priorities of the learners, right? We can roughly classify the environments in which English is taught in this country into how many, so based on the environments, we have different schools in India. So this comes in the first unit, guys. So what are those different schools? Rural government schools, urban government schools, rural, how many other 8 schools are there like that? Navodaya schools at the district headquarters, Kendriya Vidyalaya, runs by the Sangathan, urban, semi-urban, private run schools, missionary schools. So these are just the different schools that are there in India, right? So the last one is 8 different schools are mentioned in our textbook. So what is the 8th one? Street corner urban English medium schools are there. So these are the 8 of them are there. And then not only these 8 are there, besides these there are few more schools which experiment with innovative ideas. So there are different schools are there, but these are the basic major types of schools in India. So and then so what do they do? This innovative with the schools with different innovative ideas. They focus on the cognitive growth of the children through activity-based learning methods. Like I can just quote you for this one. For this particular point, I can give you one school as an example. That there is one school in Hyderabad near Assembly, that is called Vidyaranya. They have a unique and different curriculum which actually, focuses on the cognitive growth of the children. So that school has got a different and unique, system of methodology. So that's a different one. So besides these schools, there are different schools. That's where I have given you the, the example as Vidyaranya, which has got a unique and different method of teaching, learning and teaching happens there. So they try to wear away the exams orientation that most schools are saddled with. So yes, yeah, if you just check in the, if you Google for the school Vidyaranya, they don't have exams for the children. They don't have exam for the children. They just actually focus on their cognitive development, and then based on their, um, based on their cognitive analysis, cognitive growth, they actually assess the children, their competence levels. So this is how the schools are there. So, and then, so what is that? And furthermore, it is difficult to have the same methodology, the same textbooks, the same examination pattern to cater to these diverse contexts in English teaching in the country. So it is also difficult to obtain teachers who had a uniform exposure to the language teaching method. So in India, what is this? So we have different methodologies, different textbooks, and different, boards are also there. NCRT is there, ICICS is there, and then state board is there, right? ICSE is there, right? So we have different, boards of education is also there.
Right.
And then one more point here to be noted is that teachers have got, we don't have the, ability of the teachers in a uniform way. Each individual teacher has got their own style, and then their own techniques to teach in a classroom. They don't, and then their exposure to the language is also different, right? Isn't it not? So when you compare a teacher from a language teacher from a rural area to a urban area teacher, urban school teacher. So their exposure levels are different, because you understand in the urban area, in the rural areas, we hardly have that kind of atmosphere, right? Where the exposure of the English language is there. But whereas in urban areas, we actually in and out, day in and day out, we actually access language, right? We actually, get our ears exposed to this particular language because of the, metropolitan culture of the urban areas, right? So, and then coming to the cameos of English classroom, this is the first unit. This part is up to introduction, and then the cameos, unit 1, cameos. Cameos of English class, first unit is cameos of English classroom in India. So, the factors in this one, what do we have? Like, guys, before you, read, before you go through the textbook, just understand what are the elements that this unit has got. So in this particular unit, the first unit, we have, we are focusing on the factors influencing the English language learning in each school classroom. In each school classrooms are like different states have different classroom, different, environments, right? Isn't it not? So what are the factors that influence the learning process, the learning of the language in these schools? So let us see how many we have altogether. 8 factors are there, guys. So language spoken by the learners at home, language spoken in the society around, socio-cultural backgrounds of the learners and teachers, economic stratum of the learners, These are the four. And then other one is infrastructure available in the schools, right? You understand what is infrastructure, the facilities that are there. Some schools have got computers, internet, and then they have, digi classes, and then they have interactive boards are there. So the infrastructure, but in some schools, these kind of infrastructures, and then not only that, and the classroom availability is also the environment, the classrooms, big classrooms are there. The building is good. Everything is that infrastructure that comes under infrastructure. So it differs, right? Some schools have got these facilities, some schools doesn't have, some schools have, few of them are there. So based on this also, the learning and teaching process, impacts the teaching impacts the learners. So teachers' communicative ability in English. So this is also very, very important. The communicative ability of the teachers also plays a major role in the learning process. So once the teacher is has the potential to grab the attention of the children, grab the attention of the students, that makes the teaching successful, and the children and the learners will able to learn very effectively. So if the communicative ability is not good, then probably the students get distracted, and then they won't focus on what is happening in the classroom. That's how it is. And the feedback mechanism and evaluation formats and the feedback mechanism. Like feedback mechanism, you all understand, like, the tests or the oral tests or spontaneous tests are there. And evaluation formats are monthly tests, like weekly tests, or a half yearly, quarterly, annual, all these types of tests are formats, evaluation formats are there. And then place of English in the curriculum. What is the place of English in the curriculum? Is it see, what do you mean by this? This particular point is being discussed as a unit in our syllabus. So when we go to that particular unit, we will understand what is the place of the English in the curriculum, right, guys? And then in this particular unit 1, you have 2 questions, guys, in the page number. I have an old textbook, so I don't think my page numbers will be same as in your textbooks. In my textbook, 21 page, you have 2 questions in this particular unit. Okay, so yeah, guys. So we have two questions in the page number 21. So anything there, please just text me in case if you are not able to understand, or if you have any doubts, please, you can text, please. Yeah. So next, guys, let us see what is the first question. Describe the various kinds of English learning context in the country with examples from your own experience. So, guys, describe the various kinds of English learning contexts. What are English learning contexts in the country with the example from your own experience? So, learning English is in different contexts within the country can vary significantly depending upon the educational settings, social environments, and personal motivations. Here are several common contexts with examples from my own experience. That is how you can write the answer. I wrote the answer for you guys. So formal education system is there. Formal education comes under schools and universities, and then where the language is taught in a prescribed syllabus, right? And then, okay, where literature and grammar, compositions, everything will be taught. And then the next one is language institutes. These are the different, and different contexts where learners learn the language, right? I think you are able to understand. Language institutes like private language schools. These institutes offer intensive courses amid at the different proficiency levels from the beginners to advanced. In this one, see, summer vacations are there, right? To improve conversation English. So these schools come under the language institutes where grammar is taught. Like I can give you one language institute example, like Russell's is there. And then another one is there in Hyderabad, where in my vicinity, in my area where I live, we have Russell's Institute is there. And one more, I'm just not able to recollect the name of that institute, but where they actually, train or give training or, teach the learners how to converse in English, right? Communicative English has been taught. So speaking and listening skills will be focused and the small, the classrooms will be limited in number and then often involving interactive activities and discussions, right? This is another um, way of context of learning English. Online learning is also there. Duolingo is one website where you can actually practice English, vocabulary and grammar. So this is another context where English can be learned. And then the another one is, workplace learning, like corporate training. In many corporate companies, they actually give training for their employees to enhance the business communication and etc. So, and then, yes. PPT is not been shared, guys.
No, ma'am, the PPT is not. Guys, can you please mute?
Yeah. I will share it. I will share it. One second. One second, guys. I'll share it. I thought it's already.
आधे पैसे लेके पूरे दे रहा था 27 19,000 रुपए लेके दे रहा, तो इन्होंने क्या करे, अब 19,000 में चाहे जैसा है 16,000 दिया कल।
Someone is very loud.
पूरे आ रहे थे, पीपी के बाद में आधे देना। नहीं म्यूट है।
Ma'am, you do not have the access to mute everyone, right?
No, I don't have actually.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. This admin people have to do, I think, actually. One second. Are you able to see the PPT?
No, ma'am, the PPT is not visible. Just the audio.
Okay.
Yes.
One second. I'm just sharing it. One second, guys.
Sure, no problem. Thank you.
Why am I not able to share this one? Kindly.
Ma'am, don't tell me you have to send it to the institution and then they are going to post it, or you can do it directly by yourself.
Okay.
I don't know what the rule is.
Nihal. Come here. Is screenshot PPT share avatle?
It says share screen, ma'am. That's where.
So sorry.
There is something called.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to figure out actually. Share. Okay, all participants, is that right? 1 second. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. Can you see it now?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. We can see the PPT now.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think, I'm already there in the, which slide, like, unit 1. So right from the beginning, you didn't see the PPT?
Ma'am, nothing.
Yes, nothing is visible, ma'am, actually.
Now, is it visible now?
We are on 11th, I think, ma'am. It says rural government schools, urban schools, click to title.
Yeah. That's what I have already explained you, right, guys?
Right,
so,
yes.
In this one, we have the contents I have given you, the five slides till 6th slide, you have the contents of the textbook. And then in the first one, you have the block one, 7th slide, you have the block one and understanding the English classroom. And then unit 1. So yeah, I'm discussing about this one. Cameos of the classroom in India introduction. You have 8 cameos. We have already discussed in our, offline classes. And then the questions that I have discussed about the questions that one question that is there in the first unit. Describe the various kinds of English learning contexts in the country with the examples from your own experience. So that's what I'm discussing here, guys. So we have different based on, see, we have online learning context is there. Some people learn through online. Some people learn workplace learning. So in corporates, they give training to enhance their business communication skills. So the next one is, yeah. So 7th one, test preparation is there. Self-study is also there. Self-study context also, people learn English language by self-study. Like books, movies, and media. These come under the learning from books, movies, and media. Individuals can learn English by reading books, watching movies, listening to music, and follow the English language medium. So this is how you can learn. This is one context where English can be learned by the learners, right? And then another one is test preparation. So standard tests like TOEFL, IELTS, and Cambridge exams, etc., can be learned. This is how some people will learn the language. So these are the different. So these various contexts provide diverse opportunities for learning English, each with its unique advantages and challenges. Personal experiences can vary widely based on the methods and environment one engages with. This is how the first, this is the first unit, guys. And then coming to the second unit, I'll share the second unit also. Yeah. Second unit, what you have, theoretical basis for the classroom. Classroom practices is there. Yeah. Yeah. Can you see this one also? This.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Can you see
Yes,
this
ma'am, we
PPT
can.
also?
Yes, we can. We
Yeah,
can see.
done. Okay, now we will very quickly finish our second unit because I have actually mentally prepared myself to finish 4 units in this unit, in this particular class. Tomorrow 4 units, and then in the third class we will start the fresh one. So introduction. So what is the theoretical basis for the classroom practices? We have different. Our country is a multilingual country, and then we have remote villages or the people. Who people have no exposure to the language are also there who has inclination to learn the languages to learn the language. So how can those learn the language? Will go through that. Okay, now so first language is our mother language, and second language is what we learn, what we actually acquire, right? That is second language. You understand, right? Mother tongue is the language. L1 is the mother tongue, right? By birth we will get. And then L2 is the language that we acquire after or along with the first language, right?
Yes.
So this L2 actually, we learn from the neighbors or we also learn from the local, settings, right? We also learn
from school.
The L2 can also be learned in the school also. So for the rural area learners, L2 can be learned from the language 2. That is, second language can be learned in the classroom, right? So for the urban people, the language 2 can be learned from the surroundings also. So next one is,
English.
so since many of us and many students, many learners go to the English medium schools, English generally, because English becomes their first language, as English becomes their first language. Okay, because all the subjects are, most of the time they spend in the school exposed to this English language. So for many learners, English becomes their first language. So that's where when you take admission for your children or for any learner in the school, they'll ask, what is the second language, Hindi or Telugu or Sanskrit? What language would you opt for? So because English, in the educational settings, English is the first language, especially in the English medium schools. In an English medium school, English becomes as much as the first language. So that is where we can consider this. So, and then in this particular unit, we have the Bridge P. Kachur has actually mentioned about 3 circles: the inner circle, the outer circle, and the expanding circle. So we understood, like in our previous class, we have understood there are 3 circles are there. What is inner circle? Inner circle is nothing but the countries who speak English language as mother tongue. Whose language is there? English. Whose mother tongue is English. So like BANA countries, Britain, Australia, and North America, these are the 3 countries whose mother tongue is English, who speak English only for in and out communication, right? And the outer circle is, what is the outer circle? Outer circle is like countries like India and Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand. These come under outer circle because we actually transact our international, communication in English. And then we also, deal in our own languages. So the outer circle and the expanding circle. Yeah. And expanding circle are the third world countries who transact only for their international purposes. They use English language, right? So these are the 3 circles are there. And then so this is how the English and then see, in India we cannot give the status for the English language, right? So for English, for some it is a mother, for some it is a first language, for some it is a second language, for some it is a foreign language, right? So hence we cannot give any status for the English language in India especially. It may be first language for some, second language if it happens to be the school language, and foreign language if it is studied as an additional subject in a school where the medium of instruction is an Indian language. So foreign language for those additional subject, for those people who study from Urdu medium or Hindi medium or like, Marathi medium, or for them, it becomes a additional subject, right? So that's how it is. And then this is the introduction for this second unit. And then what we have, in particular, what we have, the various ways in which English is taught and learned in our country. We have almost 6 of them are there. So in this particular unit, guys, actually, we have 2 questions. Please try to understand. We have, 3 questions are there. First one is, what are the various ways in which English is taught and learned in our country? So all the 6 are there, 6 ways. That is teaching language as content, teaching language as skill, teaching language as structure, teaching language as grammar, teaching language through content, teaching language as communication. This is one question, guys. What is this question?
जरा उतर के मेरी ओढ़नी दे, मैं उसको दूध पिलाता। उठो ना बाबा, बाबा तुम्हारे पप्पा देते थे।
Yes.
दे रहे? क्या बोले तुम्हें आया? जान दो जी, चीखो ना को, क्या उसका पीछा लग रहे हो? मैं छोटा बच्चा है, बोल के पीछे डालो। आओ बाबा आओ।
Ma'am, I think you can see the person who's talking, ma'am. Can you identify them?
Yeah,
Sabah Begum, please close your mic.
Please mute yourself.
Yeah, somebody is like, admin, please mute. Yeah, please do that. Yeah, so and then, yeah, that's one question, guys. And the second question, what you have is, yeah. So the first question, you understood, right? Various ways in teaching English, you have this six. And then the second question is historical perspectives on the language teaching. So historical perspectives, you have 8 perspectives, guys. Historical perspectives are 8. Grammar translation method, the reform method, the direct method, the structural approach, the audio-lingual method, the structural oral situational method, the functional notional approach, and the communicative approach. This is the second question that you have in the second unit. Oh, sorry. Second unit, right? And then another one you have is, one more thing that you have is, another question you have. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, only 2 questions, guys. Sorry. In the second unit, only 2 questions are there. Okay. So, the different ways of in which English is taught and learned. And the second question is historical perspectives. So, 6 for the first question and 8 for the second question. You can go through the unit for the elaborated information in your textbook. So, and then summary is what we have learned is what we have examined in this unit are some of the basis for how a second language is taught in instructional settings in India. And most English teachers in Indian schools teach as they were taught, and their training does not include inputs on theories or languages of language or language learning. This is what we have learned. These are the 2 questions, guys. And so that is what we have in the second unit. And then let us go to the third unit, guys. Third unit is, the third unit is the place of English in the school curriculum, right? So we will just, yeah. Yeah. So the third unit is the place of English in school curriculum. Now, what are the objectives that we will understand? What are the objectives of this unit? So what do we understand? What will we understand after going through this lesson is, after going through this unit, we will understand, we should be able to understand and analyze the advantages of English as a medium of instruction, the advantages of instruction through the mother tongue, the learning situation in the language classroom, and the subject classroom. So these are the 3 things that we will learn once we go through the complete information in the third unit, right? So, yeah, the third unit. Okay, so introduction. In this unit, we will present a holistic view of the school curriculum and argue for the need to relate the, guys, what we will understand in this particular unit is that the subject the subject textbooks and the language textbooks has a disparity. Like there is a lot of, cognitive disparity is there. That means gap is there, because mostly in English curriculum, we will see only the past form of the language, and also some narratives will be there, and not much of a cognitive challenging topic, cognitive challenging topics won't be there. So that's the reason why the learners as well as the management, the teachers will take the English as a lighter subject. So that is a major drawback for the learners after going out of the stepping out of their instructional settings. They find it really difficult to communicate in English. So they shy away from speaking this language. They they try to avoid finding themselves. They find it difficult to avoid, right, getting into this situation. So yeah. So it is important for the students to see the connection between the different subjects, make sense of the whole, and relate their learning experience in various slots of the timetable. So it is very, very important, so that they can actually become, self-reliant or able to communicate in this particular language when they step out of their, education, after learning this language, right? After stepping out of their educational setting, or a school or college or whatever. Yeah. So in this one, what are the major drawbacks, or how is the learning process impacts the learning of the particular language, that is English. So what are those? The disconnection between the different subjects, comparison of the English textbooks with the subject textbooks. Learners learn the grammar of the language but fail to apply the rules for communication, and there are few opportunities to use, as there are few opportunities to use language. Gap in the level of the cognitive challenges between the English subject and the other subjects. These are the major, points that impact learning language in the educational settings, right? And then coming to the next one, this is the introduction of this particular unit. And then, so mediums of instruction. How many different mediums of instruction are there in our Indian context? There are three: English medium as instruction, regional language as medium of instruction, bilingual education. So, right, guys? So these are the three things that we will learn in this particular unit. And then coming to another question that we will learn is classroom procedures. Yeah, guys, actually in the second unit you have 2 questions, and in the third unit you have 2 questions. And this one is what are the 3 major mediums of instruction are there? Yeah. See, what is that? The questions that you have is: discuss the problems arising out of the changing government policies regarding English and non-English medium instructions in school. And what are the reasons for the clamor of English medium education, even in the rural pockets of the country? So these are the 2 questions which are there in the textbook. And then if you go through the literature part of the unit, you will be able to answer these 2 questions, guys. So medium as English as medium of instruction. We will just look into this one. So you can, those who have the textbooks, please, so you can open the textbook and look into that. So yeah, actually,
there are some sample.
we all understand, right?
Yes, ma'am. There are some sample questions here which says discuss the problems arising out of the government, the changing government policies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah. now the first one is English as a medium of instruction. English is not the first language for most of the people in the country, right? Is it? We do agree with that. Majority of us always speak our mother tongue at home, and even in our social interactions also, we do speak only our mother tongue, right? Or the common language of the community, right? But and when it comes to the learning, it is English, right? Historical circumstances beginning from the Macaulay's 1835 minute brought into English into the educational system. So when was it introduced? When was the English introduced into our educational system is Macaulay's 1835 minute. This is the policy that which actually brought English into our educational system. So actually this English has been introduced at initially at the university level, and then slowly it trickled down to the grassroots level. It is not that initially it's been introduced to the the kindergarten, and then slowly it's been rose to the university level, but it is the other way around. So it is been introduced at the university level initially, and then slowly trickle down to the secondary school level, and then and also now it is to the kindergarten level also. And so one major factor and so one important point that we need to discuss here is that why language is better learned if it is in the medium of instruction. Why not in the regional medium schools, right? That's one thing which we have to understand. Many parents are like, they put their children at they desire to put their children in the English medium schools only. Why? Because we do understand, because of the globalization, what are the, benefits that entail while learning, if you learn the language, right? Isn't it not? So many parents would prefer their children putting in the English medium schools, right? So why is it learned better in the English medium schools? We will learn one. So how many points are there here? We have 3 points that we need to consider. One major factor in the first major major factor is that the number of hours that our ears are exposed, the learners' ears are exposed to this language when they are studying in English medium schools, right? So because this is, in the English medium schools, it's a rule. It is a rule. It's a rule that all the teachers, all the learners in that particular environment has to speak only in English. If they do not speak English, they will be fined or they will be punished, right? So that is one of the, obviously the exposure to this particular language is drastically, many hours, right? 91 hours, 9100 hours. It is impossible to provide so much exposure in any school setting. Yeah, so that is how it is. So I'll tell you one examples for those. I have already explained you guys in my offline classes. That is, see, when a child born in a Hindi speaking family or a Oriya speaking, Tamil speaking, or whichever, consider in the Indian context, if you give the child to another speaking language family, the child will learn that, the child will learn the other language, not the mother tongue, but the suppose, for example, if the child born in a Telugu speaking family is given to a Marathi speaking family, the child after 1.5 years, the child will only understand Marathi, but not even though Telugu is his or her mother tongue, but the child would only understand Marathi, because the environment which the child grew up is Marathi. So the exposure is, what is my point here is the number of the hours that the child is exposed, the better the learning process happens very quickly. So this is one point that you need to understand, guys. And yeah, and then the second point, Second one is, the second factor is the pressure on the learners to understand and express themselves in the English to convey whatever they have to relate it to their subject. So they also encounter authentic language, the English exams. Because of the exams, they actually read, right? How can, while I can share the PPT, can I make any changes? I can make changes, I think.
No?
What is this? Can please change the PPT? Okay. The third PPT is not been visible. Okay, okay. One second. Oh. Acha. Yeah. So okay. So this is the medium of instructions and then the classroom procedures. Now let us see one more important thing, classroom procedures. What is the classroom procedures, guys? See, a recent trend in English language teaching based on the need for the communication in it is the communicative approach to the language teaching, right? So what is that? Communicative English is plays a major, that is the buzzword happening in all the schools and the colleges, because what is our ultimate priority in learning this language is to communicate, right? Communicative approach. So communicative approach methodology is being adapted by many schools and colleges nowadays, because what is our ulterior motto of learning this language is to transact in this language because of the globalization and because of the demands that the community and the community and then our workplace demands, right? So based on this, we need the communicative approach. So we understand this. So one of the basic principles of this approach is interaction in the schools, right? Interaction in the classroom. So how we can communicate, how can we improve our communication? Only by interaction, right? It makes, so this aspect actually makes this particular aspect makes the teacher-centered classroom to a learner-centered classroom. Right? We understand this.
Yes, ma'am, if you could please share the next slide which says classroom procedures, because we are on mediums of instruction.
Oh, you are in the mediums of instruction. Okay, okay. That's
Yes,
what
ma'am.
I am just trying to figure it out. Okay.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah. Right now, can you see this one?
No,
Is
ma'am,
this
actually
audible
it is
now?
still on mediums. No, it's still on mediums of instruction.
Mediums
Yes,
of
you can
instruction.
stop and
It's
share
only
once, ma'am.
on.
Yes, I'll
Yes.
stop and share right once.
Yes.
No, I was quite confident and able to do this screen sharing, but now I don't know how it's not possible. So I'm finding it difficult to share this one.
Ma'am, it's okay, ma'am. Now there's no need to share. You can just
Absolutely
explain.
fine,
No
ma'am.
worries. We are hardly left with any time.
Exactly. You
worries.
can
You can
complete your
just
context, ma'am.
content. Continue with explanations. No need to share, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Resume. Pakan.
All until I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, guys.
Ma'am, it's absolutely fine. Sharing the screen would not be a problem. You can just
Okay.
continue.
Okay. So
Without screen also, it's fine for us, ma'am. No problem.
okay.
Thank you.
Now can you? Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Now it is visible.
Procedures.
Yeah. So I think, guys, I'm clear with this one. Communicative approaches to the teaching language is the buzzword which is happening now on the basis of this principle. See, the approaches to the, what is the, yeah. So what do we understand with this one is that now, because of this communicative approach has become a buzzword, the teacher-centered, teacher-dominated or the teacher-centered classroom has shifted to the learner-centered classroom, right? So that we also understand. So how this kind of, how is this learning happens in the, when the learner-centered classroom is there? So we can actually look into discovery and knowledge construction through the interaction with others. So how can this be possible? Learner-centered class, how can the learning language can be possible with the learner-centered classroom? So we have, like, if you adapt or employ this kind of activities in the classroom, this communicative approach technique can be possible, can be successful in learning the language. So what is that? Discovery and the knowledge construction through the learner interaction with others. Group work, pair work, and use of technology makes classroom interactive where resources and infrastructure are available. And then subject teachers and the English teachers need to work together. So if you adapt these three techniques in the classroom, where the communicative approach methodology is being adapted in the learning process, right? You understand this, guys? So this is the classroom procedure. So in the second and the third unit, you have 2 questions in each unit. The second unit, the first unit, you don't have to bother, guys, because there are hardly any questions asked in the examination. But when it comes to the second and the third, units, you have 2 questions in each one. The first, to refresh your memories, I just wanted to tell you, first one is methods of, yeah. Okay. So now we will understand. So this is the third unit, guys. So I don't have to, because I'm reinforcing you again and again, but yeah, don't worry. I think I'm overdoing, repeating the same topics, right? So let us see the fourth unit, that the role of the teacher, English teacher. So coming to this role of English teacher. Unit 4, the role of English teacher. So introduction. Teacher has always been considered as a center of the learning process in the educational settings, right? If there is no teacher, we don't consider that as a classroom, right, guys?
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
Now this, can you see this PPT also? No, I don't think this is a scene again.
No, we can see, ma'am.
Yeah,
It's visible.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Oh, the fourth one also you can see?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay, we cannot imagine schools and colleges without teachers. The teacher has been an agent through which the curriculum content is transacted, right? So these are the three these 3 points can be covered in the introduction. And then coming to that, in this particular role of English teacher, we have again, the language class and the changing role of the English teacher, teacher's proficiency. These are the 3 questions which you have in this particular unit. So the first one is the language class. Now, in this particular one, we have, see, language is a medium of communication, right? It is a system of the systems. Language is a system of the system, which actually through the language is the medium of communication, and through which knowledge is accessed, gained, and produced, right? This point you are very clear. See, what is that? We are talking about English language. Language, for that matter, any language is the system of the systems, right? If Telugu is there, we actually we learn, what do we speak, we write, we learn things also, right? See, if you are learning something, if you are reading a novel, if you are learning something learning something through Telugu, so that is a system, right? That's a system of the system. So any language for that matter is a system of the systems. Language is a medium of communication. It is a medium through which the knowledge is accessed, gained, and produced. Language as thought or language and I think this is spelling, there's a mistake here. Language is thought as an integrated in the human mind, as a thought is integrated in the human mind, and mental process manifests through the language themselves through language. Hence, language is very crucial to academic growth. So what is that? See, whatever we think, it is manifested, right? We manifest our thoughts through we manifest, and then we express them through the language. So that is, hence language is very crucial in academic growth. So, and now coming to the next slide, there are slots so when it is class, the language class, there are, slots for the slots. Timetable is there in every educational institution, right? One slot is for periods. Slot is nothing but the periods, right? So English is third period is there, second period, like that. We actually, divide the time according to the time according to the subject, right? So and then what happens is that the language in this particular language class in the kindergarten level, what happens is that the language teacher, one teacher will teach all the subjects. Okay, one teacher will be both language teacher as well as other subjects also. Because of the elements of the language syllabus, both teachers and the students take the language class less seriously than the subject like mathematics and so because the elements of the language is like the lessons in the syllabus. So English, for English, it is only generally a set of poem, a short story, or 1 or 2 factual pieces of information will be there. So, and the stories, like, the stories, children will take it very easy on stories. Once they listen to it, they lose interest in that, right? But whereas when it comes to the, the language, like subjects like maths or science, the challenging level is very, very high there. So that's how, the English is considered as English is relegated as a secondary subject in the education, in the learning process. So, and also when it comes to the, for example, like, when there is no teacher, we also understood, right? When there is no subject teacher, English teacher will be, allotted that particular class to be engaged. And that's how, these things, yeah, English teacher will be considered as an extracurricular teacher, or status of drawing, music, physical instruction teacher, like that. This is a, trend that actually happens in our learning process, learning and teaching process. Subject teacher is in most schools are considered more important than the language teachers, both by the students as well as the school administration. So this is how yeah, the language classes are there. And then you have a lot of literature in this particular the language class. Make them into points actually. How many points are there? I have given you a few points in the language class. Like, you know, these are the few things: introduction, and then some 1 or 2 points I could able to, you know, put them on the slide. But we have more points to be covered in this particular topic, that is the language class. Yeah, you can actually make it. And see, what happens is that, see, the subject teacher's proficiency language will not be tested in any at the time of appointment of the subject teachers. Like, right? You understand this one. Subject teachers' English proficiency will never be tested by the management. They actually look at only the subject competence of the teacher, and then they appoint. So when they actually when it becomes a mandatory or you know, unavoidable for the subject teachers also to interact with the students in English, then where the errors crop up. So the the learners will you know, adapt you know, they actually, you know, they really don't understand. Because, you know, most of the slots, the schedule in the classroom, in the schools, major slots will be allotted to the maths and also sciences, whereas the English classrooms, there are only 1 or 2, 3 periods in a week. There will be only 3 periods in a week. So where the learner's exposure to this particular language, even though the teacher is very proficient and then can, you know, very knowledgeable, catering to the students' requirements, but still the time allotted is since the time allotted to them is very limited. So there will be a little exposure for that, for the authentic language in the class, in the learning process. But whereas the subject teachers who are not that proficient in the, you know, communicative language, wherein they have the, you know, abundant time to interact with the learners. So that's where you know, the learners adapt, the learners, you know, pick up the errors from the subject teachers, and then they really don't you know, figure out to clear those errors. So they'll carry these errors into the world. So that is how it is. So to rectify this one, to solve this problem, specialized training in English teaching would help improve the situation. And then some teachers can be, you know, the government actually, you know, workshops could be conducted by the workshops can be
Good morning,
conducted,
ma'am.
and then wherein the teachers can you know, trained in communicative proficiency, and then these teachers in turn come and you know, cater or, like, you know, share their knowledge of learning a language with the other teachers also. The English and Foreign Language University, Hyderabad, the Regional Institute of English and English at Chandigarh and Bangalore, all these institutes, you know, in the country train the teachers in an innovative classroom techniques. But the number of the trained is not adequate for the number of the schools in the country, right? This is one point what is to be, you know, noted down. So, right, you have understood this one, I think. The classroom, the language classes. And then the changing role of the English teacher, as you all have understood that you know, earlier the teacher's role is very active role. And then now, in the present scenario, the teacher's role is passive.
Child-centered. The child is becomes the learner and a speaker.
Yes. Yeah. So what is happening is that now the teacher's role will change to monitor, a facilitator,
A guide.
a guide. Yes, exactly. All this is the changing role. They actually monitor, guide, and then facilitate the students in their activities. they closely monitor the students' progress and they appreciate and reward at the appropriate times. This is how the teacher's role has been changed. So read this particular this particular topic is very, very important, can be expected in the examination. So please, 4.3 is a very, very important topic, guys. And then the teacher's proficiency also is very, very important. And teacher's proficiency, you can just go through this one. And then there are five points are there.
Yes, ma'am, can you change the
5 points are
slide?
there. Just
Ma'am, please change the slide.
yeah.
Can you change the slide?
No, actually, I'm so sorry. Actually, this fourth unit, I couldn't finish the PPT. Actually, this is where I have just ended up. So I was, thinking the class starts at, I'm so sorry, guys. Actually, I have wasted my 15 to 17 minutes of time. I thought it is 10:30, though. Yeah, ma'am has actually reminded me the morning itself that I have a class at 10 o'clock. I was assuming yeah, it's 10:30.
Yeah,
So
we have
anyway,
another
guys,
class tomorrow, ma'am. Tomorrow you'll be taking the class as well.
Ma'am, ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, in my assignment, my papers are not uploading.
That I don't know. Actually, I'm so sorry. Maybe I cannot help you out with this problem because you know I have zero knowledge in the technology. I mean, so whatever is there
Maybe you
handling
can
this.
go to the computer shop and maybe you can get your things directly scanned at this computer, any
yeah,
computer
you can
center.
go take the help of the computer section, computer person, like a cyber cafe. You go to a
Ping in
cyber
the
cafe,
group,
take the
ma.
help
We'll
of
try
the.
to help you out.
Oh,
Whosoever is
ma'am,
having
I
the
have
Thank
scanned
you
my
so much.
all papers, but on my screen, there is submitted assignment is showing. From onwards,
right. This,
Okay,
correct. So
ma'am,
if you
you've
can
done with the
just
class for today. It's 11:32, or you go off automatically.
Yeah. True. Yeah, 11:32. Yeah,
Okay.
next class tomorrow. I'll be sharp on time, guys.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good
Thank you
morning,
so
ma'am.
much.
God
thank
bless you.
you so
Have a
much,
great
ma'am.
day, and
Thank
I'll
you.
see you in the
Likewise.
next class.
Enjoyed
Yeah.
your class.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
can anyone help me on this assignment?
Ping in the MA group, ma. One or the other will try to help you out. This is actually teaching platform, right? They might not be able to do anything. You
Thank you,
have
ma'am. Okay,
yeah.
okay,
Please ping in the group. We'll try to.
okay. Thank you.
Sure.